All right. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Fuel channel where we speak the truth, we're honest, we give our takes on professional wrestling. I'm already stuttering, man. It is Wednesday night, February 21st, 2024, and of course, this is your AEW Dynamite review. Next week is the Revolution pay-per-view. There was some stuff I liked from tonight's show, although at the end of it, I didn't really think anything crazy happened. Nothing terrible happened coming out of tonight's show. It was just a fine show that, at the end of the day, there's really nothing much to talk about, man. I mean, the biggest thing probably coming out of that show was what happened in the opening of that show between Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, and FTR. It seems like we're going to get another Blackpool Combat Club FTR match at Revolution. And I felt like that was the biggest thing coming out of tonight's show. Also had a really fun 6-man tag at the main event. Even though going into it, I didn't like that the match was booked. They ended up having a really fun match. I thought the segment between Daniel Garcia and Christian Cage was awesome. That match has been made official for Revolution next week. And also, Wardlow. Round of applause for Wardlow, man. Someone has been paying attention in promo class, because that was by far his best promo that he cut tonight. We will talk about that. And then the rest of the stuff was kind of filler, in my opinion. So, at the end of the day, decent show. We're going to go over everything tonight. Also, at the end of this video, we are going to talk about not Revolution. That's next week. I'm sorry. We're going to do Elimination Chamber predictions at the end of this show. And the reason we're doing it tonight and not tomorrow night is just simply there's just not enough to talk about for me to make an entire video on Elimination Chamber when the pay-per-view has 4 matches going into it. So I'm just going to talk about it tonight in like the final 5 minutes of this video. And then I will review it on Saturday. And yes, because I am a psychopath and I love professional wrestling, my plan on Saturday is to wake my ass up at 5 o'clock in the morning, watch this show, and do a review right after the show. So the review for Elimination Chamber, if you're waking up and you don't want to watch the pay-per-view and you're like, you know what, I just don't feel like watching the pay-per-view, come on over here to the Big Fight Fuel channel, and I got you covered. So, that's on Saturday, and it's not a great decision, but it's a decision I'm going with because the night before, I'm actually going to the Sixers game. So, going to Sixers Cavs on Friday night. Then I'm gonna wake my ass up at 4:30 in the morning to watch Elimination Chamber. All right, man. I got some stuff to talk about before we get into this Dynamite show. First, I want to talk about this, and I'm not really giving my thoughts on this. I'm just breaking the news. Not breaking the news. How do I want to word this? I guess I could tell you the news that happened before Dynamite. Basically, what happened is AEW is hiring a new writer. And this writer is very important because a certain someone is on her way to AEW. Sports Illustrated said the following. Tony Khan and AEW are set to announce 3-time Daytime Emmy Award winner Jennifer Pepperman as Vice President of Content Development. Pepperman will work beside Tony Khan, and her primary role will be development of content for live programming. And this was reported, this next part, as reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter last week, Jennifer Peppermint is someone close to and has previously worked with Mercedes Moné in WWE. So there you go. That's why she's coming into AEW. Because she's worked with Mercedes Moné in WWE when Mercedes was under Sasha Banks, and now Mercedes is coming to AEW, and Jennifer Peppermint is going to follow her into AEW. She's a 3-time Emmy Award winner. We said that. Again, I'm not going to act like this is a big deal. I'm not going to act like this is great for AEW because I have no idea who this woman is. But what I do know is what I just read to you from the Observer. She's worked with Mercedes before. That's a big deal. Why is that a big deal? Because in less than a month, Mercedes is going to be All Elite. And I'm pretty sure she's going to have her say in her feuds, her segments, the women she wrestles. It's like Brian Garwitz with The Rock. When The Rock came back onto television, Brian Garwitz, his writer, came with him. Brian Garwitz writes his segments. He lays out the storylines. He's probably going to lay out his match with The Rock at WrestleMania when it's WrestleMania time. And also, she had just quit WWE last week, and those in WWE believed that she was AEW bound because she was very close with Mercedes Moné. That tweet was from Dave Meltzer. And even Tony Khan put out an All Elite graphic for Jennifer Peppermint. AEW came out with a personal press release. I'm not going to sit here and read the entire press release. That's just a waste of time. If you guys are interested in this, you can go ahead and read it. But Tony Khan said this, and I will tell you this. Adding Jennifer Peppermint's brilliant mind to the AEW team opens the door for exciting new ideas and will help us build upon the incredible stories currently developing on the road to AEW Revolution across our 3 weekly shows on TBS and TNT. And the effects of Jennifer's arrival in AEW will be felt for many years in the future. So that's Tony Khan. That's Tony Khan's message. Is it bullshit? I don't know, man. Again, I've never heard of the woman, but the biggest thing out of this is she's worked with Mercedes Moné before, and that's a big deal because Mercedes is on her way to AEW. She's going to be here in a couple weeks. So I wanted to relay that to you guys, and then before we get into the show, there's a popular topic going around in the IWC that's involving AEW once again, and I want to put my nose in this business. And no, it's not AEW doesn't tell stories. Because AEW does tell stories, and you're just ignorant if you don't believe that at this point. I'm done arguing over that. I want to talk about their attendance lately. And Tulsa, Oklahoma, thought they did a fine job tonight with the show. They made noise, they were interested, they were invested, especially in the opening match and especially in the main event. They were a fine crowd tonight. But the attendance numbers for AEW, for weekly shows, they're not that high. They are going to 15,000, 20,000 seating capacity arenas, and they're selling out barely over 3,000, a little bit under 2,000, a little bit under 3,000. They're in that range. And for AEW, I do think this is a realistic conversation that attendance numbers are down in AEW for a TV show, not the pay-per-views, but the TV shows. The attendance is down. When AEW announces that they're coming into town to this city, it doesn't create a spark anymore. And I was thinking about this today, and I go on Ticketmaster. I'm not buying any AEW tickets in the future. I just went onto it just to look at their upcoming live event schedule. And prior to tonight, they did not have an arena booked for April 3rd. Folks, that's like 6 weeks away. And they announced an arena tonight. Tickets go on sale for people who are in the Worcester, Massachusetts arena. So, this is why, in my opinion, AEW is having trouble selling tickets for TV shows. And I think it's because they're announcing the dates way too late. And you're not giving people notice that, hey, we're coming to your city. AEW is coming to your city. Get your tickets for 3 months out, 2 months out, like WWE does. AEW doesn't do that. I think that's got to change. Also, you look at, and I heard this from Brian Alvarez on The Observer, and I absolutely agree with it. You look at WWE. WWE is selling out arenas everywhere they go. I had to charge my phone for a minute. Everywhere they go, WWE is selling out arenas. They sold out in Anaheim for Monday Night Raw. They're having over 45,000 people in Perth, Australia on Saturday. They have another sellout for Raw next Monday. And the main reason why they're continuing to sell out arenas is because their product is really hot right now. I love AEW. I think their product's good. But if I'm being realistic, I'm more invested in the WWE product than I am the AEW product right now. And granted, yes, it is WrestleMania season. That's a big help. But do you know why WWE is selling out arenas? Because to the prior week, they are announcing who is going to be there, who is going to be wrestling. Before this Monday's Raw, they had 4 matches announced going into the show. They announced Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre. Big deal. That's a pay-per-view worthy match happening on a TV show. Jey Uso versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Big deal. That's a pay-per-view worthy match happening on a TV show. And I think they announced a last chance qualifier and an 8-man tag involving the Judgment Day. Point of the matter is, they are telling you who is going to be on that show, who is going to be wrestling on that show. So I think the reason, and I'll say it again before we move on to the show, the review, the reason AEW is not drawing big crowds for their weekly television shows is because they're announcing dates way too late. Like, prior to tonight, the only date they had locked down in April was April 10th, episode of Dynamite. And they booked the venue for April 3rd. So they got no venues booked for April. How are fans supposed to know that you are coming to town when you're announcing it 6 weeks in advance? That's not enough time for people to know. People aren't going to know by throwing up a graphic for 15 seconds. So, I mean, listen, As long as they make noise, I want them to make noise. And obviously they are. They're good crowds. But I would be mistaken if I didn't think that AEW had an attendance problem for their weekly shows. And I think they do. Pay-per-views, they don't matter. Revolution's going to have over 15,000 people in the Greensboro Coliseum next week. That show's going to be fucking awesome. I can't wait. The card looks fantastic. But that's not the problem. The problem is their attendance for Dynamite and for Collision. So I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. And now we can get into the Dynamite review. So tonight we opened up with another Jon Moxley match. It was Jon Moxley and Claudio against FTR. They wrestled to a 20-minute time limit draw. The match was great. The last 5 minutes of this match was great. FTR, there was a spot where they were about to win. Dax hit a suplex on Claudio. Claudio got his knees up. He immediately hit the giant swing onto Cash. And I think there were spots where the Blackpool Combat Club were going to win this match as well. I think Moxley hit the paradigm shift on Dax Harwood. Cash Wheeler broke it up. Towards the end of this match, Dax had the sharpshooter in on Jon Moxley. Claudio then puts the sharpshooter on Cash. And while they both have their opponents in sharpshooters, Claudio and Dax are staring at each other in the face, slapping each other in the face. That spot was awesome. And as for FTR, as they were going to hit the big rig, bell sounds, we get a 20-minute time limit draw. The brawl continues outside of the ring, in the backstage area, and it seems like we're going to have another match for Revolution. Didn't get confirmed yet. Will probably get confirmed on Saturday for Collision. But that match was great. The last 5 minutes of the match really amped up. And it was really good. It was really good. I honestly thought the Blackpool Combat Club was going to cheat to win to get another match at Revolution that way. Because Moxley's doing nothing. They have to do something on the pay-per-view. FTR is doing nothing. So they're going to fight again. And I don't know if it's going to be a stipulation match. But I was on my timeline, and I scrolled through Twitter, and I saw a tweet. It recommended a dog collar match. I'm just saying. That would be fucking awesome. That would be awesome. Let's see. After that, we had Orange Cassidy against Mike Bennett from the Undisputed Kingdom. Orange Cassidy won in about 10 minutes. 12 minutes. Beach break. He pins Mike Bennett. Matt Taven comes down after the match. Roderick Strong comes down after the match. And Jake Hager saves Orange Cassidy. And the Undisputed Kingdom retreat. And now Jake Hager's getting a match with Roderick Strong on Rampage. I guess good old Jake was out there because the show was in his hometown tonight. So I'll give that as the reasoning, I guess. Alright, we go from that to Garcia. Let's talk about Daniel Garcia. Garcia, after Copeland was taken out last week, Garcia is the number one contender for the TNT Championship. He's getting his match at Revolution. I thought they were going to wait to give Daniel Garcia a championship match against Christian. They're doing it at Revolution. So Garcia is like, a couple months ago, I was at the lowest point of my career. One of the lowest points of my career. And it was you fans who picked me up. You started dancing when I started dancing. You got invested in me. You cheered me on. And at the end of the Continental Classic, it was 3 seconds that changed my life. Which I really do like that story. Daniel Garcia struggled throughout the Continental Classic to pick up the win. And it didn't matter that he didn't win the Continental Classic. He just needed one win to build his confidence back up. And he got that win. And he hasn't lost a match since. He beat Brody King at the end of the Continental Classic. So he says, those 3 seconds changed my life. I haven't lost a match since. I've been racking up wins on Dynamite and Collision, and it's led me to this, being the number 1 contender for the TNT Championship. And he talks about Adam Copeland. He says, I hope you're recovering well, but I just want to let you know that if what happened last week didn't happen and our match continued, I would have tapped you out. And it won't be the last time that I see you in the ring, because the next time I see you in the ring, I will be the TNT champion. And that brings me to Revolution. And on cue, out comes Christian Cage. And out comes the patriarchy. And Mama Wayne, once again, is wearing a turtleneck. She has completed that faction. They look great. They look fucking great together. They really do. Christian gets on the microphone and he says, Adam Copeland will never wrestle me for the TNT Championship ever again. And he says, as for you, Daniel Garcia, congratulations. You just happened to be at the right place at the right time. And that's why you're getting this championship match at Revolution. But he wants to tell him that he's actually a big fan of him. Christian's a big fan of Daniel Garcia, which is why he wanted to inform him tonight that it's not a good idea to wrestle Christian Cage at Revolution. And he says he's not ready. He said, yeah, you've been racking up wins lately, which good for you, but you're not ready for the big moment on pay-per-view. And then he got personal. And what has Christian done? What is Christian known for in this heel run that he's on? Whoever he's feuding with, he makes fun of their dead father. And he says, let's talk about your family real quick. You got a mother named Jackie Garcia from Buffalo, New York. What does she think of you right now? And is she related to David Garcia? Excuse me. Is she related to David Garcia? I think she is. I think he is her husband. And if I'm not mistaken, he said, your father is dead. So there you go. He's back with the father is dead jokes. And he said, your father was an alcoholic. And that's why he's dead. So Garcia obviously got pissed. He wanted to fight Christian Cage. Christian sends down Nick Wayne. Garcia puts Nick Wayne in the sharpshooter. Luchasaurus comes down. Daddy Magic hits Luchasaurus in the back with a steel chair. And Garcia and Daddy Magic are left standing. I thought this segment was awesome. And the story they tried to tell with this match, the story they're trying to tell going into this match, is Daniel Garcia is not ready. He's not ready for the big spotlight on pay-per-view against Christian Cage. Even though he's been racking up wins, Daniel Garcia is not ready. That's the story. I think that's a very simple and effective storyline going into the pay-per-view. And you know what? I was wrong. I thought they were going to wait to give Daniel Garcia his championship match. But I hope he wins. I hope Garcia wins the TNT Championship at Revolution. Will he? I don't know, man. I don't know. So, we go from that to backstage where a limousine pulled in. And it was Ric Flair. And when we got back from commercial, Ric Flair was greeted by Renee Paquette. And Ric Flair's upset because he hasn't been a part of Sting's retirement as much as he wanted to. And it's not Sting's fault. It's not Sting, the human being's fault. He just wants to open his options, assess his options. And who does he happen to knock on the door of? He's knocking on the door of the Young Bucks. And he says, I just want to talk. So the Young Bucks, they let Ric Flair into their dressing room. Is Ric Flair about to fuck over Sting in his last match? His greatest arch nemesis. Because you knew he was going to have an involvement in his last match. So is he going to fuck over his arch nemesis one more time? It's looking that way. It's looking that way. Toni Storm and Deonna Purrazzo had back-to-back matches. Toni Storm beat a local enhancement talent. I don't know why. Why do you need to give your women's champion squash matches? That just doesn't sit right with me at all. She does not need a squash match going into the pay-per-view. And then, this is what I thought was awesome. Toni Storm exits, and Deonna Purrazzo is making her entrance because she's got a match next. And this shot between Deonna and Toni Storm was fucking great. You got Deonna on one side, and you got Toni on the other side. They're doing a face-to-face. One side is the regular color. One side is the black and white side with Toni Storm and Luther. That shot was fucking great. That was a great shot. So now, Deonna's wrestling Madison Rayne. Deonna beats Madison Rayne, of course. The match probably ended sooner than it did. Because Deonna ended up dropping Madison Rayne right on her head when she attempted a flatliner. And what's fucked up about this was it was the Intubit TurboTax move of the night. She got injured. She got dumped on her head. Madison Rayne got dumped on her head by Deonna Purrazzo. Yet it was the move of the night. That's certainly a choice. And then Deonna comes out, puts Toni in the ankle lock, and sends a message before the pay-per-view. So this is something I would like to talk about, okay? Let's talk about Wardlow. Let's talk about Wardlow. As I said earlier, someone has been paying attention in promo class because this guy cut a hell of a promo. And he was pissed. He was pissed. He mentioned that he's mad because 2 years ago, He had the whole world in his hands. People were chanting my name in every city that I went to. Everybody wanted to see Wardlow. Tonight he was handed the ball, and he did not drop it. That's for damn sure. He says, I had all the momentum, and AEW dropped it. And he says, I've never received a world championship match in AEW in my entire career. And he said that people deserve to be in jail because of that. I'm trying to find the damn tweet. Fuck, I can't find it. Alright, so then he mentions his biggest accomplishments. He talks about CM Punk. He says he dominated the best in the world, the real world champion, yet he destroyed him like no one's ever destroyed him before, and his body is still falling apart from it. He says, I beat the best. He said, I beat the guy who's better than you, and we know it, yet I beat him like no one has ever beat him in AEW before. I squashed him like a bug. And then he says, the king of television. I've beaten you before too, and I would look so much better walking around in this locker room with a suit on and gold over my waist. So he says, I'm not hungry anymore. I'm starving. And for anybody that's going to get in my way, I'm going to break them. This was easily his best promo ever in AEW. He absolutely killed it. And he's going to be participating in a match at Revolution. I don't know what this is. He's competing in a match that's called Meat Madness. What the rules are, I have no idea. What's the reward? I have no idea. But we're just going to have to learn about it going into the pay-per-view. They got Wardlow and they got Powerhouse Hobbs in this match at Revolution. But I think this is the first step to getting Wardlow back where he needs to be. And now the talk is going to be the follow-up. How is the follow-up going to be from this segment? From this promo that Wardlow cut tonight? We need a strong follow-up. And then let's get into the main event. Hangman Page. This match was so weirdly booked because the babyface team was RVD, Hook, and Hangman Page against Swerve, Brian Cage, and Samoa Joe. Now, mind you, tonight Hangman Page was the babyface, Swerve was the heel. The past couple weeks, Swerve was the babyface, Hangman's the heel. So, they're not fully committing on this double turn yet, but I guarantee you come pay-per-view next week, no one's going to be fucking cheering for Hangman Page. Nobody. But the match was good. The match was really fun. Joe choked out Rob Van Dam. Hangman's whole mission was to hurt Swerve more. He did not care about winning the match. He said, there was a backstage promo with Hangman, Rob Van Dam, and Hook. He says, guys, tonight we have a huge opportunity to injure Swerve before Revolution. This guy is so fucking obsessed with Swerve Strickland that he doesn't even care about winning the match. Rob Van Dam talked back at him, and Hangman left the picture, and he was pissed. But this match was really fun. Samoa Joe got the win, and that's all it has to it, man. Again, it was a decent show, but really nothing too crazy to talk about. Again, the biggest thing that happened was probably everything that happened in the opening show with FTR and the Blackpool Combat Club. So, they announced nothing for Dynamite next week, besides the fact that Will Ospreay is going to be there. That's exciting. He got his big farewell in Britain this weekend in England. I am so excited for Will Ospreay to be in AEW. I can't wait. And they announced Bryan Danielson against Jun Akiyama on Collision, and Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb will be in action. Again, I don't review Collision, but that doesn't mean I don't watch, or at least catch up on it. So, I pay attention. All right, man. Before we get out of here, we're going to do some Elimination Chamber predictions. Now, this show is taking place in Perth, Australia. It starts at 5 a.m. Yes, my ass will be waking up at 4:30, and I'll be watching the show, and I'll be doing a review right after. And I'll have it up by 9 o'clock in the morning, probably. I'll have it up nice and early in the morning when you guys are waking up. There are 4 matches on this show. That's why I can't make a separate video about it, because there's not enough to talk about. I'm not going to waste my time making a 7-minute video or a 10-minute video for Elimination Chamber. I'm just going to put it at the end of this review. But we got 4 matches. The Women's Elimination Chamber match: Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, Tiffany Stratton, Naomi, and Raquel Rodriguez. I'm very excited for this match. It's a great field of women. I'm excited to see how Tiffany Stratton performs in this match, in this type of match with high stakes and with these type of women. I mean, she's in the ring with Becky Lynch, Liv Morgan, and Bianca Belair. That's 3 of the top women in the WWE. I'm excited. She's got a lot of potential on the main roster. Does Tiffany Stratton? But this match is tailor-made for Becky Lynch to win. Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley have been having segments on Raw together since January. They've been telling you, without telling you, that it's going to be Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. Becky is going over in this match. Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest, they're defending the tag team titles against Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Should be a great match. I think the match is going to be great. But Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate have not proven enough to win the tag team titles, I think. I think they got a long way to go before they get to the tag team championships. Saturday morning, they should not be going over. Judgment Day is going to retain, and they are just getting into the good stuff with Judgment Day, R-Truth, and that whole feud. And it's really fun. Rhea Ripley, she's defending the Women's World Championship in her hometown against Nia Jax. Australia will literally burn to the ground if Rhea Ripley loses this championship to Nia Jax. You think social media was bad when Cody gave up his match and gave it to The Rock? It would be worse if Rhea Ripley lost to Nia Jax. But I will give Triple H and I will give WWE credit because they have built up Nia Jax as a threat to Rhea Ripley, because it feels like throughout her entire reign for the whole year, there's been no threat to take the. There's been no credible challengers to take the title away from Rhea Ripley. She's been the champion for almost a year now, and this is her first credible challenger in Nia Jax. And there's no way that Nia Jax is going to Perth, Australia, and winning the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley is 100% going over. And what I think is going to be the main event, the men's Elimination Chamber match with Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Logan Paul, and Kevin Owens. I think Bobby Lashley will be the first one eliminated. I think Kevin Owens is going to eliminate Logan Paul to set up a rematch for the United States Championship. It's not going to be at WrestleMania. It doesn't have to be at WrestleMania. They can do that on television. I think AJ Styles is going to cost LA Knight the Elimination Chamber. That's how they're going to get their match set up for WrestleMania. And that leaves Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens does not stand a chance. Randy Orton does not stand a chance. Drew McIntyre is winning the Elimination Chamber and fighting Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. So those are your Elimination Chamber predictions, and that was your AEW Dynamite review. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Fuel channel. I'll be back on here Saturday morning to talk about the Elimination Chamber. I'm sure I'm going to be a zombie during the review because I'm going to be exhausted. Sixers game on Friday night. Get about 4 hours of sleep and watch wrestling at 5 o'clock in the morning. You gotta love the dedication, man. You gotta love it. But subscribe, comment down below, hit the like button if you liked what you heard from me. Follow me on Twitter, Colin_Joseph. You guys know the deal. Have a good night, and I'm out. Peace. I'm out.